What's up, friends? This is MechakuchaGirl coming to you live from my bedroom. Hooray! I apologize for not having uploaded videos since December? I don't know. but I have been in a theater production since coming back to school, and it's been very busy. Very fun, but very busy. And I've been doing a lot of brainstorming about what to do for this channel, and one of the things I came up with was my life, the sitcom. Because I tend to think of my life as, you know, it's this huge mess, glorious, beautiful mess, but when funny or ironic things happen, I just like to imagine there's an imaginary audience, and I'm just like, you just gotta laugh it off, because if you don't, you might cry. So, the very first story that I wanted to share with you guys, I can't even think about it without laughing hysterically, because the whole thing is just so crazy and so dramatic that I just wanted to share it with you guys. So without further ado, get comfy and get ready for the tale of two hamsters. So a little backstory to this. On Facebook this morning, I saw this page I follow posted a picture that says, everyone has a traumatic childhood hamster story. And after spending several minutes laughing to myself about my traumatic childhood hamster story and thinking it'd be really funny if I shared it with you guys, I decided to record this. Our story begins when I was but a tender girl of 10 years old, and more than anything in the entire world, I wanted a hamster. I think I really wanted one because my best friend at the time had one, and I was in that phase where everything that your best friend had, you had to have too. I don't know if anyone else has gone through that phase or not, but that's what was happening with me right then. And I have been begging and pleading my parents for years to please have a hamster. And for some reason they never got me one. And by the end of this story, you'll figure out why that is. But finally, on I think it was my 10th birthday, I got the hamster of my dreams. She was this golden yellow color, and so I named her Sunshine, and I got a cage and a little ball for her to exercise in, and I was incandescently happy. And I played with this hamster all the time. I would have it run around its ball around the house. It would stuff its cheeks with carrots and grapes and just this, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever. And for the most part, Sunshine was this super chill hamster. Like, if she was sleeping and 10-year-old me decided to pick her up, she didn't really protest. She was kind of like, okay, cool, I guess we're playing now. Guess nap time's over. And she was just super chill, and I loved that hamster with everything in my 10-year-old heart. But one day, I noticed that Sunshine wasn't eating. And at this point, I'd had her for about a year, maybe 2 years? Yeah, it was about 2 years, because we moved into a different house at the time. And I noticed she wasn't eating. So we took her to the vet, and it was told to me that she had a malignant tumor in her stomach, and she wasn't going to live very long. In fact, they said she probably won't live through the night. My dudes, I was distraught. Oh my gosh, I was so upset, and reasonably so. You know, it's my first pet. Of course I'm going to be sad. Of course I'm going to be upset. And, you know, I just remember on the drive home, I was sobbing so hard. And my sweet, sweet father was like, honey, it's going to be okay. All animals go to heaven, and it's going to be fine. The story might sound really, really dark and sad at first, but I'm coming up to the good parts, okay? I promise. Well, sadly, like the doctor said, Sunshine did not live through that night, and she passed away like really early the next morning, and I was crushed, and I didn't know what to do. And then my sweet, innocent, naive 10-year-old, no, at this point I would have been 12-year-old brain came up with the most wonderful idea. And I went to my parents and I said, hey, can we have a hamster funeral? Oh my gosh, I can't imagine my parents' reactions now. And my parents, in wanting to be really supportive to me, they were like, yeah, sure, honey, of course. And so I went out to our front yard and I found a nice tiny little plot of land under some, I think it was under gravel or something, and I put her in this tiny little box, and I got like one of those lens wiping cloths and like lined the bottom of the box with it to make it look like this nice, like, I don't know, velvet lined coffin or something. And I put her in there and I closed the box. But wait, the best is yet to come, ladies and gentlemen. We buried her on the afternoon, and I remember it distinctly because I remember it was Easter Sunday. It was Easter Sunday, and I was 12 years old. And, you know, we buried her, and my parents, they're being so supportive and so nice, and I honestly think, looking at it now, they're probably cracking a rib from trying so hard not to laugh. And so my parents were like, well, who wants to say some words? And I went off into this speech that maybe lasted a solid, like, 5 minutes or so, just about, you were the best pet, and I'll never forget you. And I still haven't forgotten that one time you bit me on the finger, but it's okay. It's okay, huh? And the rest of my family said really nice, vague things like, yeah, she was a good pet. Yeah, she was a good hamster. Because I was really the only one that interacted with her, because she was mine. And at one point, I distinctly remember my older brother starting to laugh. And I got so mad. I said, you have no respect for the dead! This is a funeral! 12-year-old me was just a little dramatic. Anyways, so, in order to make up for it, my brother, he wanted to show reverence for this loss. He found a PVC pipe in the garage. And he came over. And I'm crying, and my mom's trying to comfort me, and my dad, I don't know what my dad and my younger brother were doing, but my older brother took this PVC pipe, holds it up to his mouth, and does this. Guys, 12-year-old me was touched. And so that's the tale of the first hamster. The second hamster is much, much more interesting. It was about a year later that I got my second hamster. And I got her a few years later on my birthday because I was still so upset about what happened to my first hamster. And she was like this light brown color, and so I decided to name her Sandy. And Sandy was a lot younger than Sunshine. When I got Sunshine, she was maybe about a year old, and Sandy was like less than a year old. And so she was significantly smaller, and she, you know, like Sunshine, she was chill, you know, she did what she wanted, but she seemed a lot more skittish, a lot more afraid. But 'twould not be long until tragedy struck. About 6 or 7 months after I got Sandy, one morning I woke up and I went to feed her. And I noticed she was lying at the bottom of her cage, and she was on her back and she was kind of sprawled out like this. And I knew instantly that she had died. And I was like, how did this happen? Like, I fed her every day. She had plenty of water. Like, I don't know what in the world could have happened to this hamster. And that's when I noticed that my hamster was lying directly beneath this tiny little ledge in her cage. My hamster's cage was pretty tall, and it had, you know, all these little like tunnels and stuff that she could like go through. And I don't know why there was this one little ledge just there. Like, maybe it was a production error or something. But anyways, I noticed there was this tiny little ledge, and I looked at my hamster, and I looked at the ledge, and I came to the most logical conclusion that my 13-year-old brain could come to. My hamster had jumped. I was immediately engulfed in these feelings of shame and just like, what more could I have done for this poor creature? But at that point, you know, I was 13 years old, and I was reaching that stage of, I'm too cool for this. You know, that stage that literally every teenager goes through where they think they're too cool for stuff, but secretly wish they weren't. And having already buried one hamster, I took Sandy and, like Sunshine, I put her in a box, and I feel so terrible about this now. And I threw her in the trash. I just remember my parents being upset because they're like, we just bought that hamster! Because hamsters don't come super cheap, from what I know. If I'm wrong, correct me on that. And I was like, that's all you care about? And from that point onwards, there were no more hamsters in my household. And darkness and decay and the deaths of my 2 hamsters held illimitable dominion over all. Totally kidding. I was fine. And that, my friends, is the tale of 2 hamsters. I was actually talking to my dad before I started recording this, because I remembered all this, and I was like, do you remember the hamster funeral? And he was like, yeah, we have it on tape. So somewhere in my family archives, they have my brother doing this. I hope you guys found it as funny as I did. While telling it out loud, I realized there was a lot more dark and traumatic than I thought, but it's still so freaking funny to me because who has a funeral over a hamster? And who plays taps at a hamster's funeral? Oh my gosh, I don't know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments, and hopefully this series of my life, the sitcom, will go on further, because there are so many moments in my life that I can tell you about that sound like they belong on Seinfeld. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all of your support. I love you all, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.